Tesla.
Okay.
Tesla stock. Now, here's what's interesting to me for Tesla. One, we're in, if we look at it on the logarithmic chart, we're in a wedge pattern, classic wedge pattern, and it's not, there's no specific bias towards the top or the bottom. So this is always, by the end of this wedge, we're going to get that tricky thing where it's either going to break up and then it's a fake out, it breaks down, or it breaks down, fake up, it goes up, or there's nowhere to really know. But what we do know is that before this crossing of whatever October of next year, this pattern has to resolve in some way. And so the question for me is that Tesla is like, to me, Tesla is an AI stock. That's what Tesla is to me. It's a nascent AI stock where they haven't yet proven what their thing will be. Now, whether that's the automated driving, what that will turn it into, which could be massive for the industry. That's like a bet that a lot of people who are pro Tesla are making. Whether that's for the humanoid bots they're making, whether somehow the information from Twitter will be used within Tesla for other things. To me, Twitter, but more specifically Tesla, is a AI proxy play. How would you look at this? Would you say Tesla to you is a buy or sell, or wait and see?
Tesla's tough. I think the problem I have with Tesla is I don't know what they are. I don't know if they're an automaker or if they're a technology company, and it's very difficult to determine how they should even be valued as a company. What I can say is that there's enough, thinking of companies like GameStop, there's enough retail excitement around it to where I'm never surprised when it's trading at 50 times earnings, right? Or it's trading at 60 times earnings, even when it's losing money hand over fist. One thing I can say is that whatever Tesla has been doing for the last 3-4 years now has resulted in significant increases in earnings. And they're at a point now where they're making billions of dollars in profit. And that alone is interesting to me because now they're sort of moving into a new territory. If I look at their past performance for earnings, they're at a point now where in the Q1, they actually posted $13.5 billion in profit, and they're sitting on about $1.5 billion in free cash flow. And all of this is, exciting, and obviously led to a pretty big boost in price from April to, their peak in July. But since then, they've been in a fairly, modest drawdown. We're at roughly 40% from the top, the most recent top, in other words, but overall 57% drawdown. So while this is happening, the question I ask is like, what is their ability to continue to generate these types of profits into the future? And is there a potential buy at this point? From a price perspective, though, price to earnings perspective, and right now I think they're trading at 45 times earnings. It's not necessarily a value buy, but it could be a very good technical buy just because of how far down it's drawn down, and the fact that recent earnings are really quite promising. Looking into the future, though, for Tesla, that's a really tough one because it feels like, I don't know, there's just like this Elon factor that I think bothers me, where I just never know whether he's going to do something that could change the path dramatically. But, like, I don't have a ton of confidence that they can just continue to deliver on the things they say they're going to do. How long did it take for them to finally deliver on the Cybertrucks, for example? And now that they're out, like, that's exciting, great, but like they still need to meet delivery deadlines. They still need to get the product in the hands of the consumers that are asking for it. So the sentiment, I think, is what's interesting to me. Are people happy with Tesla as a car brand? Are they going to keep buying? And can they even get access to those vehicles in a timely manner?
So I should have known you come at it from a logical perspective, from a reason perspective. Let me propose this to you.
Okay.
Because we both agree the future is uncertain, and so to me that's the volatility in that uncertainty. We also don't know if Tesla can 10x in the next 5 years. Like, that's also part of that darkness of uncertainty.
What would cause them to 10x? Like, what would be the big thing?
But if we knew that, then it would be white swan, a gray swan. But if it's a black swan, we can't answer that question.
Okay.
So the idea here is that the game. I don't know if you were ever to comic books as a kid,
A little bit.
but even I mean as a kid, even into my adulthood, I'm interested in comic books. And the game that we play is like, what would you do if you were in one particular universe? And someone asked me, well, what would I do if I was in the Superman universe and I was just a regular citizen? I knew Superman was coming, I knew this whole environment was there, but I'm at the beginning of it. And what I said is I would invest in anything Lex Luthor did.
Hmm.
Anything Lex Luthor made, invest in it, because everything Lex Luthor made was successful, and he would do anything in order to make it successful. And to me, Elon Musk has the Lex Luthor effect. He is battling against forces that he claims are bigger than he is.
Mhm.
He seems to be completely willing to put his money where his mouth is, and he's crazy enough to send rockets into space, to dig holes underneath the ground, to buy Twitter for $44 billion. And I go, well, if I can own a piece of that, I mean, I don't know what I'm gonna spend my money on that's worth more than that. Like, I don't have, like, other than invested in my kids, like, I mean, if they were Elon Musk's, I put everything behind them. So
Sure.
I see Elon Musk as a option, and that only expires when he passes. And
Yeah.
so it's like, well, why not buy it? And the very fact I would want to buy a Tesla, like I mentioned it now because, like, I'm interested in looking into it now because it's because no one knows for sure.
Right.
By the time everyone knows for sure, then you're buying Apple at highs. Like, no, you want to buy it when nobody knows what's going to happen,
Mhm.
right?
I appreciate that, and that's sort of a contrarian approach to buying, especially in uncertain times. And with where Tesla is drawn down at the moment, it's retraced so much that it does seem like a good potential buying opportunity. If we ignore the fundamentals that it's overpriced, and it's trading at such a high earnings multiple, and the valuation is probably, like, if you were to value just the books alone, it's probably closer to something like $107 a share rather than where it's sitting right now. But the idea that you're trying to invest in that uncertainty to the upside is, I think, an interesting approach. What we can say about Elon in general is that you just never know what's going to come next. What new thing could get people excited? And in today's modern trading environment, I will never underestimate how hard and how fast retail traders can push on the price of a company that's billions of dollars in market cap, or trillions of dollars. I still can't believe Nvidia is now over $3 trillion in market cap.
I mean, people like to compare that to the Cisco during .com. I mean, we're beyond that. Like, as far as well, I don't know. Maybe because I wasn't trading it back then. I wonder if the hype felt the same for the internet. I keep hearing pets.com. How many boomers have I heard talk about pets.com, how it was valued at insane amounts and wasn't worth anything.
Yeah.
But that's not Nvidia.
No, and I think the difference between the dot-com era and today, when it comes to sort of overvalued companies or overpriced companies, is that in the dot-com era, very few of those companies were actually generating a profit. It was the promise of future profits that people were getting excited about. Today, Nvidia is printing cash. I mean, printing cash. And Tesla is now printing cash, which they weren't before. But in many cases, some of these popular names are very profitable companies. Maybe not by margins we would hope as analysts, like as we look at the companies and their comparisons. Again, this is like my problem with Tesla. Do I compare it to other auto manufacturers? Is it more profitable than those? I don't know how to like stack it up and look at the comparisons. But nonetheless, it's not like it's losing money anymore. And it's not like, Elon's asking, hey, one day we'll actually make a profit. Uh, we can actually see that they know how to make money doing the things that they do. And we're placing our bet that Elon can do the Elon thing, which is just create some magic that we weren't expecting. Like creating a Cybertruck, and now everybody loves it. So
Oh, do people love it? I haven't been following the
it
sentiment.
it's a mixed bag. When I first saw it, I thought it was the most hideous thing I'd ever seen. but people like them. So what? I can't argue with consumer demand. If at the end of the day people want to buy these things, then that makes Tesla very interesting.
To me, it's like he made a car that a retro-futuristic car. Like this is what we said. They
It's
said in the
Mad
past
Max.
cars will look like in the future. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, he's doing it.